Hey folks, today I'm going to talk with Skye, who is the person who runs the place that I just spent the last 2.5 months living and training, called the Teepee, on the island of Koh Phangan, Thailand, which is a retreat center that he was building, and I got to watch him build it while I was here, and also train with him as my personal trainer. So how's it going, Skye?
It's going great. Thanks for having me.
First of all, I wanted to thank you for the last couple months of just, getting my body in order, because I now feel better than I ever have before in my own skin.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, that's what you like to hear, right?
That's the best. Well done.
Yeah, I mean, it's just an amazing transformation. And I did sort of like 1 month when I was here before I started working with you, where I was just messing around on your equipment, and then I'm like, no, I gotta hire this guy to put me through some stuff. Now, on the other end, I'm leaving in a couple days, and I feel like my whole life has been changed by this experience in a really positive way. And so I wanted to make this video so that anybody's interested in this can see what you're all about and know where you're at. And also so I can remember this time when I was forced to stay on this island, this beautiful island, against my will, for a couple months, and how I used that to sort of work with you to get me a routine that I could use to continually improve my health and my body while traveling the world and stuff like that. So why don't you tell people just really quickly, what is this place all about? What's the elevator pitch, or what's the sort of short story of what people can get if they come to this place?
So it's a retreat and an education center, because we have a lot of great retreats around the world that give people a good experience and a seed into some new inspiration, some positive change in their life, and they might experience like really powerful techniques, but there's not also always the tools to bring back home. So in that second way, I want it to always be like a exploration and taking and empowering people to go back home and continue this practice, also staying available online for people if they need. Basically, it's like an enabling institution for people to be happy and healthy and productive and give back in a good way. And that's, not just by intention, but by their own responsibility, but by design of the program. People living here in the sustainable systems that we're building, getting up and doing daily yoga practice and exercise together, eating food that's eventually coming in the restaurant we're building later. The entire experience just enables them to be present and doing what's good for them and interacting and socializing.
Like finding yourself and then leaving as a better self and taking that wherever you go. That's what I kind of feel, because it's like, well, I could just come here and do the exercises for a little while and then leave and not do them anymore, but that wouldn't be the full thing, because I've developed a routine that has made me feel so good to know that I'm going to wake up every day and get sweaty, work my muscles, and just build something. And like the last few days, as I was powering down from the physical classes here with you, we started adapting it so that I could take it with me
on the road.
Yeah. Okay, so that's great. So,
and I have to just reply that's what actually, like, I get double excited when you tell me how much you've seen in your month and a half or so, and how good you feel in your own skin after just that. Imagine, like, that's just new information and effort that you're applying in a routine now. Man, I can't wait to watch you over a year. You're gonna grow in so many ways from what you're already doing.
Amazing, and we'll keep that going through the online sessions with you. Great. So, a lot of people, let's start from the history of this place, because that's the kind of the next. We'll go backwards into your life before this, but a lot of people look at us, full-time expats, long-term living abroad type people, and they say, what, are you crazy? America or Canada are the best countries in the world to grow up in, and why would you leave that? What are you looking for in Thailand? Why do you need to go anywhere? And so what attracted you about this place? How was your life moving here an improvement over what you had in the States? And we'll go back to your history in the States after this, but tell me about what drew you to this place and why you've decided to become a long-term resident.
Well, at that point in my life, a lot of things were going great, and other things weren't. And business is going great. I ran a few martial arts schools with a partner, and they were very successful. In that way, things were good, but when I look at the whole picture, I wanted something more, and I realized at some point, even though I'm fortunate enough to be able to always do what I love for work throughout my whole life, I had kind of lost the steering wheel a little bit and had to look at like I got success in some places, but this isn't what I wanted from success. This is like financial success, but
So, like the other parts of your life. So you had a certain amount of success in terms of building a business and getting money in, but maybe the cultural energy that you were getting from the situations, from the type of what was it?
When I looked at like, just what am I going to do next, simply because I decided that I wanted to stop at the martial arts schools. That was first because of just situations between the business partner and I, and values of the business and whatnot. So when I chose to go on and look at what I do next, I went into quite a deep exercise to find what that was, and I wasn't just going to look through the some sort of job ad place and see, oh, that job, I'm qualified for this, or try to make this to make money. It was like, what do I want? Like, what am I creating next? I don't want to just like choose a destination out of what people put on a piece of paper and then run towards that, like kind of again just walking into something different, not necessarily better, probably not, so I had to put a lot of thought into 100% what I wanted. And I had never been to Thailand, but I knew I wanted to live here and work here. And at that point I was my own boss for pretty much my whole life, and I actually wanted a break from that. So for the first time ever, I thought, 9 to 5, like I can just put it down at the end of the day. Like we make our own schedule, but we don't just like put it down.
Yeah, never.
Because somebody's going to take care of that, and if it's not an employee, then it's a boss.
Your baby,
right?
It's like your DNA in a business.
Yeah.
So you came here?
So I came here.
First time, just one-way ticket? Or?
Yep. Came pre-interviewed for a job here. I got a web developer position here, and we were working in digital marketing, online, sales stuff. And I was like the systems guy for that, believe it or not. Actually, that's the other half.
Why not?
Sure. And that was like kind of a break for me. Like out of my whole business at that point, one of the things I loved the most was like, we had a secretary that. Front desk girl that was just like way more intelligent and capable and amazing than we ever knew. And when we realized that, we're like, we got to free this girl up to do more than what she's doing in this job. So I coded out some like mundane stuff that she was doing every day, and we with that were able to train her to like actually take some martial arts, start to bring people into intro lessons and help with sales. She became like a huge asset to the company rapidly. So I really like that sort of thing about the system and development part of my life as well. So
and tech, how it's all open.
How it's open.
Yeah, like the style of doing business is not regulated. There's no like best way to do things, but you can sort of innovate as you go with people and systems, and it's all about hacking life.
So I liked that. So I kind of like ran with that. I was like, I'd like to just be with that for a while, be around peers, not be a boss for a while, see people from all over the world, not just the box of where I am,
was on the
in my
island here?
country. I went to Koh Samui first, took this job from an Australian company, and there was about 12 of us, and got what I wanted out of it. And I had always had marketing and business experience and web stuff, but I wanted to see, because this was a multi-million-dollar company every year selling online exclusively, so I wanted to see like hands-on, the last step before I like, okay, now I'll go do my own thing again and publish some.
So how long did that last?
It lasted as a big learning experience, like a lot of learning and good stuff for like 6 months, and then I wasn't getting as much, and
Rinse
for the
and
next
repeat.
year it was like, was I there for them? Was I there because I just hadn't chosen anything different or looked at it again recently, or why was I there? So at some point it was like, okay, I'm now definitely not learning anything new, and conditions, time to go,
Yeah, okay. And so how did you transition back into fitness and movement and all that stuff?
Sure, yeah. Well, so I had also got into yoga at a young age. Like fitness started for me at 12, martial arts at 5, yoga at 16. So I just like, I'm always trying to do like as close as I can to my purpose, and what's direct. Like, there are some things that if I try to do them, I'm not going to be able to offer some powerful experience like somebody else who's like, that's their thing, and what's your expression, and whoop, mic check. Is this thing live? Are we editing this at all?
No, that's fine.
All right.
No, I don't edit, but it's fine.
Okay.
We got them. They're watching us.
Are they? Don't look at me too long. I might forget what I'm talking about. You gotta draw me back in here. I lost this.
All right, so you were doing yoga since you were 16, and you had to find your
Okay.
purpose by
Thank you.
uniting martial arts, yoga, etc.
Yeah, it just again what I was doing with the web, and it wasn't like close enough to meaning. It was like kind of a vacation for a while, but I wanted to get back to like the stuff that's truest to me. So I went back and got my yoga teacher training certification finally at the age of like 29 after doing it for all those years, and again was like, man, like where was all this stuff in class? Why did it never just show up? Like I have to become a teacher just to get this like super basic information that I should have got as a practitioner before maybe even started moving, just knowing what it's about and learning about the theory and things like this that you could teach somebody in a few days or weeks, you know. And same with fitness, I've had that experience. So in a way, this is like, I started this so young and I didn't even have the name for the things I was looking for at first. Like yoga, I was the only one that even heard that name at first when I was young over in Boston, USA. They literally thought I was saying yogurt. And now it's like everybody, you say yogurt, they say yoga, you know. So it was hard to discover all those things. And then, you know, nowadays you have all those things that have went through so many lineages, some of them true, some of them not, and some of them are diluted and a few of them are still powerful. And it's hard to know the difference. And if you just come and experience that for a short time, you might have a terrible experience or a great one. And how do you discern, you know? So I think there needs to be some education so that you can find it in yourself and bring it with you, and that's kind of what I feel like I can do really well right now for people that isn't being offered in this way.
So it's a combination. What you're doing here is a combination of yoga and
movement, fitness, a lot of body weight, movement, calisthenic type stuff. Basically, the type of fitness training you can do anywhere, anytime. Bring with you, set up very easy, cheap or free, and be healthy without having to be like absurdly slanted in one direction about your efforts, you know?
Yeah, I sort of feel that. And what's the kind of philosophical underpinning that you sort of operate with in this this space?
Many. Well, so here for me, I always have this idea of like how powerful we are as humans and where our energy goes. And in many ways, we're just consuming and burning, and we are acting more like a parasite than a resource for the universe and for Mother Nature and whatever. And it's just crazy. Like we are the most equipped to have impact, and we get to choose whether it's positive or negative. And I'm no kind of activist in the sense of yelling or even talking about that much, but I do like to do it in my life, and I didn't have enough examples, or like I've never even been to many places that are running in a positive, sustainable, or like net zero or above input, you know. So I decided to start creating some of those systems and bringing people here on programs like Workaway that have different skill shares and abilities to help us with everything from electrical to plumbing to like some people are very into primitive stuff, and I've done all these phases with different, like, you know, maybe not experts, but people with a lot of experience, or experts occasionally. And
so sort of like thinking from a systems level of individuals on a space and individuals in their own body, and how that they can better themselves and better the environment around them. Did I get that right?
Yeah, just by being here. Like, you don't even have to, like, you know, if you're living in a busy city somewhere, anywhere in the world, and you want to live, like, without plastic, for instance, you have it today. This is probably the worst time to provide this example. It takes a lot of effort, because, like, if you're just living, you have all these comforts and conveniences. You don't even, like, gather your own food, never mind, like,
or know how to grow it.
Even more. We are doing some of that, too. But, you know, being in an environment like that, it's so difficult to just have a lowered negative impact. Like, okay, you use less gas by getting an economical vehicle. You use less plastic, or even go like 1 month plastic free or something. Or you're always just doing like less shitty shit. You know what I mean? And that's crazy. We're so powerful and intelligent. Like we're off the ball with our direction. I feel like this. So for me personally, I don't need to have the rest of the world feel that way for me to start doing that.
And did you find it was easier to make headway on that, let's call it initiative, in Thailand than it was back in America?
It's hard to say, man, because I never tried.
You never tried over there because you were running a business, you were doing your thing.
I mean,
blah,
I'm
blah,
running
blah.
a business here too, but I decided that that was a priority to
Yeah,
the
yeah,
business.
yeah.
and built
But the
it into
whole
systems.
North America, like, did you have a car over there?
Yeah,
Yeah, like
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah.
And did you eat, shitty takeout food over there?
a bit. Yeah, a bit.
Yeah, and
Not as
did
a
you?
core meal
Yeah,
by any means.
but just though I feel like in North America, that's one of the reasons I don't live there. The society is so skewed in such a way that you're in this system and everything's all about profit, everything is all about success, and it really has like sucked the life out of, for example, the food you can buy in the supermarket, because they're trying to scam you for as much money as possible and provide the cheapest product as possible. And the medical system is about maximizing profit. And having a car, obviously you want to sell cars to people, gas to people, all this stuff. And if that whole thing collapsed, as well we sort of see in this era, where does that leave us as human beings? And do you actually have the way to progress in a way without those sorts of systems that you're kind of being scammed by, But when you come to a country like this, when you live in an area where you're closer to nature, or at least closer to the food chain, or at least closer to other people who will help you out in life, you can go back and you can go back and rework your life from the beginning, because you've left all that stuff behind and you've started fresh in a way that
Coconut fallen.
yeah, there's monkeys, but yeah, starting fresh in a way that lets you take everything you've learned from life up to that point and sort of like put it into the new you. So how long have you been working on this vision for this place?
Man, I mean, it's a lifetime growing, of course, because I really have been like on this stuff my whole life. I've never been the type to just like hang out. If my friends want to hang out with me, it usually means like they ride a bicycle when I was young while I jog or something. We beatbox together while I trained, It's like
Yeah.
I was always just on it.
Focus.
Yeah.
But the vision that you could create a place like this, on an island like this,
Yeah.
in a country like this, and share that with
It
people.
was a seed when I came here already, because I was a personal trainer back home, and I was choosing what I wanted in life, and already thinking like, of course it's a bummer to leave my clients behind too, because a lot of us are making a lot of progress, and I got excited even then about like, man, when I'm established out there, I can start the new thing where I maybe bring people out there on retreat. But then I got away from that for a while. I did some other things here on the island and in Samui, and then came back to that vision maybe about 2.5 years ago, and started working on it about 2 years ago in the physical sense.
Okay, so let's go back to when you were a child. What laid the seeds for sort of like wanting to be somebody who became an expert in movement and an expert in fitness and all of that stuff?
When I was about 5, and up to that point, I spent a lot of time on a boat. My father was like the Commodore of a yacht club, which means he was elected president. And my idea when I hear the word yacht club is maybe like, some people with some money or something, and this was not that place. This was like a very rugged place, and we weren't like a rich family or anything. I grew up but we spent all of our free time on this boat. And the dock that it was on and the boat itself, everything's moving all the time. So by the time I came to physical land, I was literally like, I had sea legs only when I was on the ocean. Everybody else was out of balance when they were on the ocean, But it actually really stunted my development of walking and standing and everything. And so we...
Like you were an astronaut or something. Oh, you're
Yep.
getting a package over there.
Cup. So you can just leave it. Cup. Thanks, Jen. So then, my school was worried about me. They wanted to put me in special classes. This is in like first grade. And my parents were alert of the concern, and I wanted to just be a ninja. I was watching Ninja Turtles. I wanted to be a ninja, whatever.
Yeah.
So my dad was like, "Yep, that sounds better," and put me into that instead of special classes.
A ninja class?
Pretty much, yeah.
Like karate for kids or something?
It was like the second student in the new martial arts school that was coming to town. There was one guy at that time, later became my business partner and all that, like so many years later. But what really did it for me, man, was like, I was at that point so physically awkward. I was like, literally absolutely picked last in gym class. I'm only 5 or 6 years old. and just no, I can't even lift a leg up without falling down and blah blah blah. And after 1 month of karate, 1 month, just changed completely. All of a sudden, I was like a little bit more athletic than most, and blah blah blah. And I kept going. And by the time I was 12, I made it to be invited to the Junior Olympics and qualified for that. And that just taught me right away, like, wow, like we don't have to be good at anything, but we can become good at anything. And this is something I've kept up my whole life, including fitness.
All right. So, I mean, so you told me that when you were a teenager, you were very focused on this goal, which sounds like a really good, healthy thing. Did you have a community of people around you who were also focused on that?
Parts of it, you know. Everybody, like, I had to put together a lot of pockets of groups, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I had a few yoga friends, kinda, not even really. Meditation, we had like this big Dharma punks group. I was like the second or third, probably the third or fourth member maybe in that group in Boston, and that's like a Buddhist group for recovery and non-recovery people, and it's very good stuff.
Oh, so you were into Buddhism before you came to Thailand? Is that
yes.
somewhat what?
That was about 20% of why I came here.
Okay. And what about Buddhist teachings from your perspective back then made you want to come to Thailand? I mean, what was the sort of lure?
I was already doing a lot of mindfulness meditation, and I like to go on Sundays to a place in, I think it was Attleboro, Massachusetts, maybe, some with an A. And there was just me and my one friend who would go and sit with the monks on a Sunday and meditate for a few hours, standing and sitting, standing and sitting. And I was already doing, you know, Theravada Thai meditation with those guys, and, you know, became a little friendly with them and stuff. But
okay, so what's the relationship between martial arts and yoga? Because it sounds like, for example, I was very into my yoga school in Belgrade before it closed down, but then there were the guys who invited me to interview them at their Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu school, and I went for a trial there, and I found, like, you know, the thing about yoga that really appealed to me is being in tech and in music, you're hanging around with dudes all the time, and in yoga it was embracing a more feminine energy and spending more time around females. Okay. And then I went to the Jiu-Jitsu school, and I did the little thing with them, the little trial, and you know, for the interview we filmed some of it, and I just found it to be like, no, I want to be somewhere where I'm working on making my body feel better, and feel more relaxed and you know, feel more balanced, rather than getting aggressive and letting out a bunch of aggression on other people and being all around testosterone. So what's the relationship in your practice between those two things? Because I decided yoga is what I need. I'm an aggressive enough person, masculine enough person, not having to go into that. Yoga is like the balancing force for me. So what have you seen in terms of martial arts versus yoga? What have you noticed? Where do you fit on the spectrum and all of that?
Sure. I love that question, and good question, and I agree in so many ways. And of course, that was like a huge part of my dilemma. Like, in fact, a lot of my yoga was in response to balancing martial arts, you know? So it was a lot of the mindfulness and whatever. But, you know, you can be on a yoga mat and have a super deep experience and go really deep and find like the right state for yourself, the ideal state. You can sink deeper, you can explore, you can do so much, and you can do this for a long time and get like better at that and open in the body and whatever, and then you're walking through life with this body. But unfortunately, in this mind, but this was in a bubble. It's like you walk into a yoga class, there is no chaos. There's like incense, there's like romance in the air. You're here to be taken care of. Take it gently. The instructor's prepared to be very gentle with you, as they should with all of this. But life's not always like that. And if we want to have a balance within us, we can't depend on living in a bubble all the time. So for me, martial arts is like, if you even try to do like hand mitts with somebody who's never hit hand mitts before, you know, just like the hand pads, their first reaction, if you just say, okay, I'm just going to hit them a little bit light, and you put them like, they flinch. And all that reaction is just like fear and control, and, you know, like it's all this unnecessary stuff that wasn't about the input. It didn't need to be there. And in martial arts, like, if we can like recognize at our literally at our nervous system level, like an attack, something that incredibly adverse is coming at us, and we can actually calm the nervous system while it's happening, already realizing like from a cognitive sense, like, okay, that is out of range. I do not need to react to that particular short range jab. Yeah. Just like, not even just like, this is just because there's a threat doesn't mean that if I don't attach to it, it won't harm me. Like, it will harm me. You know what I mean? It's like we think that because something's happening, we have to we have to react. Whereas like knowing when to react or how to react or how much energy to apply towards that thing. And normally it's a big overreaction, you know? Something comes, it could be dangerous and you know? But in martial arts, we learn more and more to like be on the comfortable, relaxed edge of these attacks and confrontations. And that translates the same in yoga. That's one of the reasons I think like I can excel when I want to really put myself in physical positions in yoga, because I can relax so deeply in them under that what would be stress, but instead it's just things are arising.
So knowing the secret is knowing where the edge of pain is.
A whole nother level is I mean, injury is a whole nother thing, right?
Like, no, but I mean pain. Like martial arts, you know, there's a healthy stretch in yoga. You know where the edge is. You can feel on the muscle where like you got to back off or you might hurt yourself or something like that. But a healthy martial arts thing would be like that, you know, right at the point where you could harm a sparring partner.
Good training partners.
Yeah.
That's the best. Good training partners is the best. And that comes from your guys' intention, not necessarily skill level at all.
But you found that both of them are inner journeys as well as physical journeys.
Oh, hell yeah. Of course. And they taught me so much about all the values I need to like succeed at my own personal path of life, you know, perseverance, focus, applied effort, integrity. These are all things that we practice every day in martial arts as well.
Yeah. And so how do you combine those two?
In yoga, martial arts, Buddhism, these are actually like things that pretty much always went together forever. We just lost that association. Now people think of martial arts, they think of like, you know, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, mixed martial arts, all this stuff, but none of that even has this old school stuff. If you ask like any monk, what's your daily, and he, you know, do you practice Kung Fu? Yes. You know, are you an aggressive man? No. You know, it's like he's meditating and balancing it with, but could he move and take you out if he needed to? Most of us, you know. This has always came with like, they never, like with great power should be responsibility. And whenever we talk about martial arts, it's coming from war, and there's always like an ethical background from that. And in almost every martial art I've heard of, save a few, there was always like you know, samurai is most famous for. They have the Budo. It's like, here's the physical and here's the way of the samurai. And this is all, like if you've ever watched The Last Samurai or anything, it's a pretty good movie, I think.
So yeah, it's the essence of confronting the shadow, confronting the darkness, and balancing that so that you can have the good things in life.
In that one external sense.
Yeah. And so, how much can you give? So if I were to come here for 2 weeks, how much could you give to me in 2 weeks?
Not as much as I could give you in a month.
Okay.
You know, because it takes like, we're staggering usually so that even if you're here for a week, you get something. Yeah. You know, so it's either a full yoga program or a full fitness program. 2 weeks at least you get like a wave of each, but they can extend into more depth if you're here for a full month. So if it were me, and I like, that's a consolidation of what I had to chase around my whole life, I would have loved 1 month of that correct like place and environment and conditions and coaching and teaching and opportunity.
I mean, it was different for me because I was just not full and I'm running my business while I'm here, but I still got a lot. But okay, so
and we're not even fully open yet.
Exactly. It wasn't the full thing that I saw on your website. So, right. So, who is this for? Who do you? If somebody's watching and if they're wondering, what, if this is for them or not? What would be the questions that would determine that? Like, if you're what?
I think if you're excited by even the idea, it's then you're the person already. because it's it's like we need to dream bigger. We need to expect like more out of our own life and choose our joy. And I think we need to be healthy. We need to be like happy in our body and feeling good. And doing these practices are like just to be happy every day. It's less about the physical results and all that stuff. That just comes with it. For me, it's about like, if you don't have this, like you're not gonna feel that good. Like we all have our range, but if you take out health, like you're way down on your own personal scale. So as a baseline,
It affects everything.
if it can help your health to come here, And if you want to see what it's like to just live, like what is it like to live in the daily life of a healthy person who's working on fitness, meditation, mindfulness? Doesn't mean it has to become my full-time life, but what is it like to really live like well in that way for a month? And also, what is it like to maybe leave a lighter footprint on the world in that time as well?
And what can you say about the community here around the place? I mean, you're 10 minutes away from the beach. There's lots of wonderful expat restaurants that are run by people who also decided that this is a special place and that they need to come and set up. What can you say about the community?
Oh, man.
And that people are going to be put in as well? It's not just you, and you're going to be stranded in the jungle with this guy who's going to be working you.
Do stuff!
Yeah. No, but the moment that you walk outside of this place, there's like a whole community of very eccentric and conscious people that have decided that this is a place for them.
Copenhagen's very interesting, very, very unique. It's got like even people who are living on the same island on the south side. Somebody came to rent a house and was talking to me yesterday about it. He said, I want to come back into this area. I want to come into this area because I'm driving here every day from the other side of the island, because I make friends and connect with other people who are into this stuff and want to do the right things in their health and their body, and just connecting and being open anyway. You go to a cafe here, like you have to really try not to have a conversation with somebody new. You do that in most of the world, and even in other parts of this island and other islands around here, it's not the same. This island is special, and right here in this little 5 kilometer radius maybe is a very special place. And you got vegan food everywhere if you're into something like that or want to try something like that. Vegetarian options as well.
Yeah, and just a world-class level of stuff. So you're on an island, it's dense. It's like kind of, for me, the best
the
of both.
ocean, the waterfall.
Like if you want a nice sort of European-style cafe, there's one just right by the beach there. If you want 7-Eleven, you're having a cheat day or whatever, and you want to go and get some candy, it's right there. You can walk. If you get a motorbike, you can go all around the island and see all sorts of different beautiful beaches and stuff like that. And the community here is really like the people who escape the Matrix sort of feeling. And so I've really enjoyed my time here. I'm going to be back. I'm thinking of what I'm going to do when I come back and how I'm going to do it, because this was a great sort of like test of like the first time I was here for 3 days. Didn't see much. But this time I know this island like quite well now, and so next time it's definitely going to involve training you with you again. But what kind of life can you create? I mean, I don't feel I really got the whole thing completely, because I was here for 5 days alone, and then with a friend for 2 weeks. Then everything shut down, and so I only went to a couple of those events, like at the Orion Healing Center and places like that, where you meet interesting people. But next time I got to see more of that. Next time I've got to.
I hadn't really thought it. Like, you still haven't seen all of Copenhagen.
I've seen all of the places, but I haven't seen what happens. Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of sad, but I feel that what I needed at this point I got from this place and your training. So thanks a lot.
Cheers, brother.
And I'll see you again soon.
Yeah.
So I hope you guys enjoyed this interview, and I'll put the info for the website in the description.
Sweet. Nice to see you all.